What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You already know who it is. Josh Shelmier. You're now tuned in with the greatest of the greatest. And on the line today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very, very special guest. I recently interacted with him, and thanks to, in part, the brother Cap, and he's also a strong believer in the Snyder Cut movement as well, even though that sadly won't be the topic of today's video, but hopefully it will be in the future. And I'm not gonna, act like I'm him, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself. And yeah, go ahead, bro.
Hey, what's up, guys? Um, excuse me. My name is Peely Swain, but on the internet, social media, I have a little tag, and MrWestAshley. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Actually, my neighborhood is called West Ashley, so that's where I get that name from. Um, I do a little podcast. I've been doing everything from music to Hollywood to a little bit of everything on my podcast, man. I've interviewed people like Professor Griff from Public Enemy.
Mm.
I've done a lot of shit. But lately, I'm on the Snyder Cut movement. I'm helping them out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder. I'm a big fan of the DCEU.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just pretty much what I'm putting my attention to lately. Trying to help balance out the media. You got a lot of good, a lot of bad influence trying to bring down Zack Snyder. So I guess what we're here for is to give some good influence for Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now,
Yeah.
brother, you the reason we're making this video is because, and you and I talked about this, and I'm glad we were able to have a conversation. I feel conversations like the conversation we had would have possibly helped Pusha T and Drake in the earlier in the year, but that's a different video.
Right.
But I'm glad we were able to discuss it, and we talked for a very long time, and I,
Yeah, we did.
I caught on to some things I hadn't really thought of initially when I saw the movie. Now,
Right.
regardless of how I feel about the movie, like I tell anyone, I'm always welcome to a different perspective, and
Right.
that what we're going to be discussing is Black Panther. Now, my first question for you, brother, is do you think Black Panther is a bad film?
No. See, no, I wouldn't think it's a bad film. I mean, film-wise, in today's market, you can get away with something like that. But I think it just has a sneaky message, and that's all I wanted to talk about. Like, if you look at Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of good things that it's doing. It's addressing a huge problem in Africa.
Okay.
It is, it's putting African Americans on the big screen,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And like when we talk like this, we gotta let the audience know that we're not racist. We're just talking about it how it actually is.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're saying white and black, but that doesn't mean we are racist people. We're just telling you how it is.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I
So
agree. And I was.
with Black Panther,
Uh
I
huh.
would say it's a good movie
Mm-hmm.
to a point where it's good for the audience to see that type of imagery. It's good for the audience to just have something black to hold on to in a world where we don't have that much, So that part I will say is a good movie.
Okay.
But it's has a little sneaky message in there, that once you wake up a little bit, or not, I wouldn't even say wake up, but you know what I'm saying? My podcast is called Go Deep.
Uh huh.
So we really go deep into pretty much every subject we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if you look at Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
it's good on the surface. It's shallow, and that's where, and I hate to say it, a lot of black people, we just on the surface. We don't really read the fine print on anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to sell us, financing a TV with 50% interest or some stupid shit like that. It's
No.
easy to get that over on black people because we don't really read the fine print, and that's what Black Panther is. But for um, for us to understand Black Panther, we have to go back a little bit to the movie Avatar. And you remember on Avatar, they were also looking for a precious metal rock that was underground. On Avatar, it was called unobtainium. On Black Panther, it's called vibranium. It's
Right.
still the same thing. But on Avatar, remember there was a scene where the general told Jake Sully, he said, listen, I don't care what you do to get those people off their land, but you need to figure something out or we're going to go over and destroy them. So Jake Sully's, his job was to get that pretty much the natives off of their land so they can go get that rock. Right?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty much what Black Panther is. The whole movie Black Panther is that in a microcosm. It was like Disney telling Ryan Coogler or whoever was in charge of making that movie, Disney telling them, listen, you need to find a way to get those people off their land. That's what Black Panther is. Because Black Panther, just basically, if you really take all the aesthetics out, take everything out, and look at the movie as what it really was, it was one big mind trick. It was a mind trick to get Africans to sell their vibranium to the people that's been killing them forever. You know, that was the mind trick, and it was the same thing in what Jake Sully was doing. He was trying to bribe those people to get, you know, because they want that unobtainium. If you know this is what I was trying to tell you the other day. If you know like technology, or if you know business, or if you know anything, you know what's coming onto Earth right now. They're getting rid of fossil fuels.
Right.
So they're getting rid of oil.
Right.
And they're changing to what we know as free energy. We've already seen it right now with like wireless energy, where they can just charge your phone out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that wireless energy is going to change now. It's growing, because now you can take a wireless energy device and put it on a vehicle, like a car or an airplane or a spaceship or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you can take wireless energy. You don't need propulsion like gas or nuclear jet fuel or anything like that. You need these certain rocks. These rocks, we know them as like plutonium, uranium, you know, different stuff like that. But there's all these certain rocks from the periodic table that they're learning now can propel like spaceships, like, you know, SpaceX, Elon Musk, you know, when he shoots his rockets off, people think they're like an alien showing up on the planet, you know, because they just look so different. They're like blue, you know, flames coming off the side, and nobody really knows what it is, but it's different forms of propulsion. It's not rocket fuel anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's free energy, and this is what they're working with right now. But all of that is found in Africa. All of those rocks is found in Africa. That's what Africa is, the richest continent in the world, but the people are the poorest in the world. Why? Because a bunch of different countries, they come in and they take West Africans and they use it for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the problem of Black Panther, because so Killmonger was trying to tell him this, but see what they did is they demonized Killmonger because they made him look so bad that his message was just out of the question. You know what I'm saying? But his message was actually the right one, because, like, say for instance, France has vibranium, or Russia or Israel or United States or any predominantly major white country. It will be theirs. You know, there will be no question of you know, who's gonna get it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There will be no question of, yo, whose vibranium is this? What can we do with all this money? It'll be theirs, in point blank period. But they want us the African to be like, should we share this with everybody else? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, should we share our wealth with it? But when you look at it, how did that work out for us? You know, we've been sharing our shit for forever, and we've been fucked up forever. Excuse my language, I don't know, you know, but
No, you good.
that's just what Black Panther was doing.
Mm-hmm.
They packaged the message up in like a black dashiki, so everybody can be fake woke and go watch
Mm-hmm.
it. But when they were fake woke and go watched it, they got a message of, hey, continue let colonialism destroy your country
mm.
for money. For money. That was the message. Continue to let colonialism destroy your country. That was the message. There was no other message than that, you know?
Okay. Damn. So I'm glad you brought up the message, because I'm sure a lot of people saw the video, and I'm sure you saw the video I did with Cap Ramsey. Shout out to him, man. Um,
Right, that's my dog.
yeah, he's a cool brother, man. I'm glad to have met him. Something he said about the movie that I think I took from it. I'm gonna let you take the mic once again. Is
Right.
you know, when he mentioned if you have the something like, if you have the tools to help others, you should want to.
Right.
Would you say that that's the message that was kind of twisted in the movie, or did you not, or were you not, did you not see
Right.
that in the movie?
No, it was twisted because, all right, think about it. Wakanda is in the middle of Africa,
Mm-hmm.
which is supposed to be Central Africa, which is supposed to be Uganda and the Congo
Uh huh.
area put together,
Uh
right?
huh.
So once you know that area, you know that area is very very rich on copper,
Uh huh.
but they're rich on more. You know, like you remember all these people were getting electrocuted for trying to steal copper from like air conditioners and stuff like that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this area where Wakanda is. Their major export is copper. A
Okay.
lot of copper.
Okay.
So, but they don't get to benefit on that money because the Dutch came in to exploit it.
Mm-hmm.
King Leopold came in to take it from them. And while taking it from them, he killed 10 million of them. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So people always talk about Hitler killing 3 million Jews, but King Leopold killed 10 million Africans, right? To get this copper.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how they do it is they go tell a African king who owns the land, hey, we're gonna make you rich, but you need to give me some slaves. So the African king says, okay, in order for me to be rich, all I gotta do is give you 10 million these Africans running around. I don't mind. So they do that. So basically, the kings, the rich people in Africa, they sell out their own bloodline
Mm.
to industry, and that's what they were showing you in Black Panther, because they had African American cousins in the movie. The African American cousins is us, right?
Right.
We were sold to slavery. We were sold by other black people. You
Right.
know, the white people didn't come and just take us and grab us. No, they were sold. We were sold to them. So now when we were sold and we're in America, we still have a claim to that copper money because that's where our blood is from. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody around that area has a claim to that money because they were born there. You know, just like if it was in France, it would be France's copper,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt. But so in Africa, they don't share. The king keeps it all, and everybody else is below him. So that's why those people like to do business with them, because it's the most violent, ruthless business there is. So in Wakanda, they had vibranium, which made Black Panther the richest dude in the world, right?
Right.
The richest dude in the world. So all he had to do was not share his vibranium for like no missiles or bombs or anything. He could share his technology to the whole world. But not only that, that will instantly change the game. That will instantly bring African Americans wealth. That will instantly bring other Africans wealth.
Mm-hmm.
That will instantly bring everybody around Wakanda wealth, not just Wakandans. It will bring the whole continent wealth if he just shared it with the right people. But no, what does he do? He goes and shares it with the people who's been stealing it forever. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
says, "Oh, let's just share it with the UN." Well, they've been taking it already. What are you going to share it with them for? They're the reason your continent looks like that. Why would you go back and take your wealth to give it back to the same people who's been ravaging your continent forever?
Mm-hmm.
That don't make sense. It's a mind trick, and it's Disney. That's what. So it's like if I became the richest dude on the planet tomorrow, instantly, all of my people, brown skin, African Americans, or Africans, I could share my wealth with them, or technology, or whatever. So that will flip it. So it will be no longer France, Russia, Belgium, Spain. It will be Zimbabwe, Uganda,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, Florida, Oakland. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
will be those people on top. So that's what they can't have. So they don't ever want you to think like that. You never are supposed to think like that. You're supposed to think always, I'm gonna give my shit back to Massa. That's what you're always supposed to think. Like, yeah, Massa, here, let me share my vibranium with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, no, Massa been fucking you up this whole time. What are you talking about? So it's like Killmonger was right. Killmonger was saying the right thing, but they made him look too violent. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? They made him look bad, so nobody would look at his message. But
Yeah.
what was Killmonger? Killmonger is like a fake Bane. You know what I'm saying? He was so, they tried to make him look so much like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. It was just funny. But Killmonger was African American, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Killmonger is me and you, because we're African American. So they tried to make us look like, we're just so violent. We kill people. We act crazy. We do this. We do that. No, but that's not true. African Americans can help Africans tremendously because, one, our money goes a hell of a long way in Africa. I've sent money to Africa. My family helps out a lot of people in Africa.
Okay.
So African Americans, see, in Africa, sometimes there's not even paved roads or electricity or running water or anything like that. So, say for instance, African Americans got rich and we went back to Africa. We would help that continent out tremendously. But what did they do in the movie? They made us look like some fucking knuckleheads in Oakland that all we do is play basketball and kill people and drink and sell drugs. You see what I'm saying? They shit on us, but they raised up the royal Africans who don't do shit but sell their people into slavery. They totally flipped it. But we won't know it unless we actually know the stories that's going on.
And pay close attention to what's beyond the line.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Brother Peel, let me ask you this. And
Yeah.
I know we've already rubbed some feathers the wrong way. People, like I said, people are throwing up their hands. Well, "Hey, what is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. And again, we're not
cool.
we're not racist in any way. Most of my friends have been white. I love all y'all. Like Kanye West said, I love all
Right.
y'all. But
Right.
this next question, Brother Peel, let me ask you this, and I
Yeah.
always go back and forth because honestly, I really liked his character in the movie more than I did the lead character, and you know who I'm talking about. But
Killmonger.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you went in depth about how how they kind of twisted him to make the African American look like this violent,
Right.
the stereotype they label us
Right.
with. But let me ask you this: so Killmonger essentially was the hero, and T'Challa was weak most of the film. Is that what I gather?
Right.
Would you agree?
T'Challa,
Yeah.
T'Challa was the sellout. Like, all right, say this. In African Americans, a lot of us has went to the military, right?
Okay.
Because we have That's huge in America.
Mm-hmm.
So we know how to fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know how to, we know how the game is played military wise because that was a lot of our only jobs, right? So
Okay.
the African American has a ability, but not only that, we know how to do construction. We know how to pave roads. We know how to do electric work. We know how to do a lot in America because America is the best country in the world. So we hold the standards. We want toilet tissue every day. We want food and clean water every day, and there's no questions about it.
Right.
That's not in Africa. You know what I'm saying? So we were taken from Africa. But say for instance, right? Killmonger, he goes back. He's like, yo, we can help you out. We can pave some roads. We can show you how to get clean water. We can, give you electricity. We could help you out with these trust funds and give you some American dollars over there. We could really help them out. But they look at us as crazy.
Yeah.
Like they follow the stereotype of, we just sag our pants and
Yeah.
we do this and,
Yeah.
sell drugs and kill people and do all this other shit like that. But no, that's not really what we're about. There is some people who are well respected and well trained, like
Mm-hmm.
Killmonger, that can go to Africa and do a lot of help, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so say for instance now they put out that message of Killmonger to 1 billion people all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So now they look at us like, no, we can't fuck with those guys. They might come over here and kill shit, they might come over here and wreck shit up. So now that hurts us to go help, So now it kind of, they don't want to mess with us. They rather mess with the Chinese or they rather mess with somebody else than mess with us because we got a bad stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
So that movie helped portray that bad stereotype of African Americans, right?
Right.
But not only that, look at it. They had a beef from the granddad or the father and the uncle had a beef back in the day in Africa. And one went to America and one, whatever, died or whatever. I don't even remember the damn movie. But they're telling you that beef is the same beef that we've had going on forever because they sold us to America and they never came to get us back. We went through slavery and nobody ever came to help us.
Yeah.
That's the story of the dad and the uncle. You know what I'm saying? We went through this shit in America. Nobody came to help us. Nobody ever came back and get us because they got money for us. They sold us. The transaction was done. The deal was done. So now the African American is still looked at as the slave, the thug, the goon,
Right.
everything. We're not looked at nothing positive. Who gets all the awards for the Black Panther movie? High uppity Africans that don't give a damn about us. You remember like coming to America?
Mm-hmm.
You remember when like his dad came in? He had the roses and the big lion's head and. He didn't want to touch none of the Americans in the movie. He was like, oh, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. That's how they feel about us. You see what I'm saying? So that movie further enforced that.
Mm-hmm.
So they made the rich, uppity king African get all the awards and the pictures and whatever. And they made Killmonger look like the thug, the same thing that they always do.
Yeah.
So now not only do white women hold their purse when we walk by, but now Africans hold their purse when we walk by. You know what I'm saying? So now we're fucked on everything, and we were the one that supported that movie.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they used our love for being woke. And they turned that shit against us and made money off of that shit. And then they shit on us in the movie and killed us. So now it's like, yo, they're really telling African Americans how you're looked at throughout the whole world. You're looked at as a thug who got a lot of bodies. You know what I'm saying? Killmonger took off his shirt and he got all these scars and he was like, yeah, that's for everybody that I've killed.
Mm-hmm.
Or some shit like that. But yo, imagine how many people Dr. Claw has killed. They never demonized him like that. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Imagine how much people the CIA has killed. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But they made it like Killmonger was just some black African American thug, but it's not like that. So they demonized the real message. Killmonger was telling you, yo, keep this shit for yourself, make your money up for yourself, and help your people.
Yes.
But they made it like they made it like, oh, he just wants to make bombs and shit like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. They demonize
now,
his message.
right, right, they demonized the message, and because if it was, like I said, if it was France message would not be let's share our vibranium. There will be no questions about it. It's my shit, and it's France's vibranium. Period.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. You know, it would never be no question of, you should help the French people. You know, you should share your shit with the UN. It would never be none of that because it's France's. Only to Africans we have to give away our shit. Even the richest man in the world has to be sunned by Massa. You know, he has to run back to Massa. T'Challa, the richest man in the world, says, "Hey, Massa, I got some vibranium for you."
Dang, bro.
Bullshit, man. They fucked us in that movie, but nobody saw it, and then they made over $1 billion with that movie.
Yeah.
So now that's even more money to fund the agendas of shitting on us even more. You know, you gotta really pay attention to Disney, man. They're real slick. Disney, they look good, but they're real slick, yo.
So, fuck. so, so let me ask you this, brother Peel. So, and this is something else in regards to Killmonger that I had discussions with a few people earlier in the year when it had just came out. I always felt that Killmonger was better in Black Panther than T'Challa was in his own movie, and that T'Challa was better in Captain America Civil War, if you've seen Captain America Civil War. And you know, somebody pointed out to me that that's essentially because they're the same character, but at the same time Killmonger was fighting for, I feel like Killmonger was in a different place. He was fighting for something bigger than, you know. Would you what's your take on that?
Well, shit, Michael B. Jordan is just a better actor than that other guy.
Damn.
That's all it is. They're just highlighting their strength. And Michael B. Jordan was the strength of that movie. You know, that other guy is just, he's just a fake woke dashiki that they put on the box to sell it to us.
Damn, I might have to put I'm probably gonna have to put a NC-17 rating before the start of this, bro.
I'm sorry, guys. It's Christmas, I know, but I'm sorry. I'll try to calm it down.
No, you good, man. You good. We can get as deep as you need to go, man. Now let me ask you this, cause we just talked about a lot about Killmonger. What was your issue, if you had any, with how T'Challa was portrayed throughout the film?
Not really. He didn't do much, you know. It was he didn't say much. He didn't have much lines. He just kind of rolled through there. But you know, but I wouldn't. I really don't have anything bad to say about T'Challa. It's just what I've already said. You know, I think he made the wrong decision, and
yeah.
Even before he made that decision to the UN, the people around Wakanda was still fucked up. So, you know what I'm saying? So what was he was never doing anything positive for nobody. He was just taking all the money and sitting on the throne of Wakanda.
Yeah. And you know? and it's funny because it seemed like it took Eric's death to finally make him go, oh, maybe, you know, he's actually had a point. And, you know, I that's something I realized the more I watched the movie. I'm like, damn, it took Eric dying was something I feel they shouldn't. I feel like they shouldn't have killed him off, but that's a whole nother topic. It took him dying for T'Challa to realize what he was saying and realize what I think her name was Nakia. Shout out to Lupita Nyong'o, but you know, realize what he was saying all along. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and that see, like when they make movies, like everything you see is like a metaphor. Okay, so what they're talking to you in a different language than what they're showing you, right?
Right.
So when Killmonger died, that's basically saying we don't need the African American no more in life, because remember I said the money is in Africa. The money now is in Africa. They're going to Africa. Everything you see, Akon is over in Africa doing business with the Chinese to
Mm-hmm.
take land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're using a black guy to do that, right? But now everything you see, French Montana,
Mm-hmm.
they do music videos in Africa. Migos do music videos in Africa. Everything is big African, pumping. Now
Yeah.
everybody's fake woke and fake conscious or whatever. They're doing that. They're doing that to make it to build up the industry in Africa. So now, let's say if we take all the rappers to Africa and do their little shit,
Mm-hmm.
now people are gonna need hotels. They're gonna need coliseums. They're gonna need apartments. All of this shit. This is how they build the industry. But before they build the industry, they need to wipe people off first.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have people like I don't know, Coney or somewhat one of these fake little
War generals.
war generals that go around and then they say, "Oh, look, there's Coney over there. We need to go give him freedom." So, so then we go over there. We fuck up everybody. We never find Coney because Coney was never real in the first place, And then
Yeah.
we set up industry and we mine the land. So while we're mining the land, we're taking all the vibranium.
Mm-hmm.
We have an industry with rappers, sports players, and blah blah blah, doing all the entertainment to keep your mind away from them taking away the vibranium.
Okay.
So now there's a whole new city. But what are they telling you? Killmonger is dead. They don't need an African American no more. We've served our purpose. We came over here and did that for slavery. That was our job for slavery, to build up America.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. America's purpose is done. We've served that purpose. Now let's go back to Africa and use some more slaves to build up that country.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So that's all he's saying. When he killed off Killmonger, he's telling you the African American is no longer needed. It's time to fuck with some Africans.
Damn. Damn. So let me, brother Pure. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. Like I said, I'm not one to be, like you see on CNN with the Reverend Al Sharpton and the John Waters and guys. It just becomes shouting matches, and unfortunately, being a part of the comic community, no disrespect to either side, I see this shit a lot, but we got to do better, and I'm glad you're not a guy that just is like Al Sharpton or John Waters, just saying, yeah, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but,
no, we can't do that, and that's the problem with Killmonger. Like, his message was right, but his delivery was off. And it's like you mentioned the other day, man. You hit it on the head. You were like Malcolm X or Martin Luther King.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that.
Malcolm X, his message was right, but he was too militant, so you couldn't do business with him.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit, Martin Luther King, his message was kumbaya and peace, so you could do business with him. Right?
Yeah.
So let's say Killmonger was a perfect businessman instead of a murderer. If he was a businessman, he would have my full support. But he's a murderer. If Killmonger just had a better message, and that I don't want to be like Al Sharpton and argue with you and blah. Your opinion is your opinion. My opinion is my opinion. But me and you can sit down as men, businessmen or whatever, and we could talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We could spit it out. And once we do that, we see just whose point can hold the most weight. But not like it's a battle or anything like that. It's just how do we proceed moving forward? We can't be tricked again to giving Disney $1 billion to shit on us. That can't happen again. Is what I'm saying. So this is the reason why I wanted to talk to you. I've done a podcast on this same subject before, Black Panther and Avatar or whatever. But see, a lot of times is people really just don't understand it. But if I could talk to you on ways that can get your crowd to understand what I'm saying, then it probably won't happen again. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's all I want to prevent. We just can't be tricked like that, because black people as a whole, we're tricked for everything. Weave is $1 billion industry. hair nails is $1 billion industry. You know, we're tricked to buying all the Mercedes, BMWs, and Gucci shirts and all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
But then Bill Gates, he got on a little Walmart shirt and a little Walmart belt and some Skechers or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So we're totally backwards, dog. We're totally backwards.
yeah. I
And
I
what I'm
definitely
trying
agree.
to do is prevent. I'm trying to help us from being fucked up like that. You know.
Yeah, and that's a video that could go easily go an hour and a half with us as a people. Shout out to Jordan Pele. Let me ask you this, brother Peel, and
All right.
I know
All right.
this is gonna also rub some butts the wrong way. Now we talked about Eric and T'Challa, the whole dynamic, and again Captain Ram, he broke it down a bit better than I did, and I gotta commend him for doing that. And I initially wanted to take it a step further beyond the comparison with Eric and T'Challa to Eric and Charles, and specifically the X-Men First Class trilogy with
Right.
James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. One, they pretty much both want the same thing, but like I said, I took it a step further with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Malcolm X, he had some really good viewpoints, but he was a radical. And like you said earlier, Martin Luther King was all peace and kumbaya,
Right.
and everything. And obviously he would get garner more support because people. Let's just face it, people don't want a big mouthed person, a free
Right.
thinker at that, saying the things
Right.
that Malcolm X was saying. And I'm pretty sure that's
Exactly.
part of the reason he was assassinated. But that's a whole nother video.
Exactly. You're
What
exactly right, man. You're on point.
how do you when you look at the dynamic between uh like I just said, Eric, T'Challa, Eric, Charles, and Martin Luther King,
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm X. What's your thoughts on that? Did the movie do a good job of exploring the dynamic, or like you kind of said earlier, was it mostly hindered due to the fact that they twisted the message?
It was there. It was there. I saw it. I did notice that because when you said it, it really, I was like, yeah, you're right. Because I always think of Martin and Malcolm as Professor X and Magneto.
Right.
But you can still put it in this movie, and it still connects because, let's say, Malcolm was Killmonger. He was too radical. He got killed off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, T'Challa is Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Peace, kumbaya. But check this out. Check this out. Martin Luther King got killed off too.
Right.
So did T'Challa. So did T'Challa. You remember when Thanos snapped his finger? I'm pretty sure T'Challa disappeared.
That's correct.
Right. So check this out. Martin Luther King. No. Malcolm X, he was killed because he was too radical.
Mm-hmm.
But his own people killed him because he started telling how
They were.
they were. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So now Martin Luther King was killed because he served his purpose. He was used already. You know what I'm saying? Like, the equal rights rally that Martin Luther King did, it got everybody equal rights, but it didn't get black people equal rights. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
white women got equal rights from that shit, but black people, we still get fucked up. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
the people who got benefit from the equal rights was not us.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody used Martin Luther King to get them rights, and then his job was done, and Thanos snapped his finger on his ass too. Just to say it in these type of language.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Now, brother Peel, this next question, you pretty much have gone in depth with what you really think how the message was twisted. We talked about
Right.
mining and everything. You even went historical on our goofy ass. It's something I feel like that needed to be done. let me ask you this, and again, you can go as deep as necessary with your response as necessary. What is the big agenda? Like and you kind of touched on it earlier, but I feel like some of
Right.
our viewers by now probably think, well, I still don't get it, or I still don't quite understand. And
Right.
I want to give you an opportunity to sort of, I guess, and I'm not trying to call anybody dumb, so don't hit the dislike button. Uh, Simplify it for
All right.
the
All right.
agenda Disney was pushing for those that might
All
not be
right.
in
The
understanding.
big, the big agenda is and has always been mining.
Hmm.
Always. It's
Okay.
been gold, oil, diamonds, rubies, everything. It's been mining forever.
Okay.
If there you go back to Egypt and there was kings with all this gold and diamonds and everything on, but who the king didn't go down in the hole to get that. The slaves went and got that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So as far as you want to take it today, you have vibranium now, uranium, plutonium. I mean, you don't have vibranium; it's not real, but you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So from the original, from the day, um, from day one to today, the overall message is mining, and the overall message, and the place where you do that the most is in Africa because they have the most resources.
Okay.
So that's the whole point of Avatar. It's this what it is. All right. So they're moving away from fossil fuels, right? So that means the Middle East is no need no more, right? You don't need the Middle East no more because they got oil, right?
Right.
So now you see why people are getting killed in the Middle East. They're not needed anymore. So now, what's needed next? Free energy. So remember on Batman, uh, Dark Knight Rises with Bane. What did he have down under his, under the water? He had a free energy device, right?
Hmm.
What was Bane doing? Bane was going to take that free energy device and turn it into a weapon,
Hmm.
right? Remember on Watchmen, the movie, Dr. Manhattan. What was Dr. Manhattan making? He was making a free energy device. What did Ozymandias turn his free energy? He turned it into a weapon.
Hmm.
So, what did T'Challa have? A free energy device because he was powering spaceships and technology
Right.
with a rock.
Right.
Yeah, free energy. What did Killmonger do? He tried to turn that free energy device into weapons. That's the name of the game. Because this energy that's coming along, Tesla found it and started making, wireless technology, wireless energy. But
Okay.
that wireless energy also can make like death rays and you know what I'm saying? Like weapons.
Okay.
So from day one, they've been mining gold, diamond, oil, blah 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 blah, all of that. God is really gold, oil, and diamonds. Some say,
Okay.
So now that has been running our planet forever, mining precious metals. So now with free energy, they need even more precious metals, and those are the new precious metals. Like you find plutonium and uranium in the ground, but you can also turn plutonium and uranium into a nuclear weapon, or you can power a whole country with it for free. You see what I'm saying? There
Hmm.
will be no more electricity bills. There will be no more, gas. There will be no more gas bills or whatever the hell you got to pay. You know what I'm saying? It
Hmm.
will be everything will be free. So that will basically free the people because everything we do is energy. If my cell phone runs out, our podcast is done.
Right.
I need to charge it. If my car doesn't have energy, I can't get to work. You know what I'm saying? Everything we do is formed on energy. So when free energy comes, people is going to be free for the whole world. But people need to, you know, they need to take all these minerals out of the ground before they give it free to everybody else. So their company can be the one who runs the world. So
Right.
that's what the overall message. And I don't know if I probably went too deep, but the overall message from everything on Earth is mining, and it's always been you work, you're a slave, and your energy is given to somebody who does not work as much as you do. That's just pretty much it. So you can attach that to pretty much every superhero movie. You know, it's pretty much the same thing, and that's like Lord of the Rings. Think about this: Lord of the Rings. The bad guy, he came and he destroyed all the trees on the land, and he started making industry. He started cloning. He started doing all this other crazy shit like that. But whether they were doing it underground, you know, just like mining and all of this other shit goes on. It's the same. It's pretty much the same story over and over. Matrix, they were mining people for energy.
Yeah.
Same thing they're doing. It's the same story over and over. The overall message is energy. The Manhattan Project, Dr. Manhattan, energy. You know, Bruce Wayne on Dark Knight Rises, Bane was still in his free energy device. It's the same story over and over and over. Yeah.
Man, I mean, I didn't know I knew I was going to get a history lesson, but I didn't know I was going to get a science lesson either.
No, it's the same thing. Some people say, and this is just conspiracy shit, right? Some people say aliens came to Earth and made a human to mine the planet for the alien. Let's say the alien needed gold. They say the alien needed gold to help his atmosphere rebuild. Earth had a bunch of gold, but he couldn't breathe Earth atmosphere. So what he did is he terraformed it, just like Zod did on Man of Steel. He terraformed it to make himself, he can breathe over here a little bit, basically. And then he crossed himself with caveman and made a human, so the human can go work for him and take the gold out of the ground. That's the people say that's the original story of humans. We were made to mine the earth, you know. So as far back as you can look at it, every king had gold, diamonds, oil, gold, oil, and diamonds. Every king, as far back as you can remember. The people who didn't were the slaves who had to go get the gold, oil, and diamonds for the king.
Right.
Okay. So that's pretty much the story of Black Panther and the story of everybody else. There's vibranium in the ground. Who's gonna get it and who's gonna sell it? And who are you gonna sell it to? That's it.
Damn. So let me ask you this, brother Peel, and I'm pretty sure by now I know the answer, but I just want to see exactly what your thoughts are. Do you think that the sequel will be a better film?
Probably not. Probably not. No, it's Disney. You know, it's who did it. Like we started this by me telling you I like Zack Snyder, right?
Right.
So then that would be like a WB movie.
Right.
WB would put it. They would put more of the truth in their movies and not try to
sugarcoat it.
Right. But Disney won't do that. You can't even have blood in like a Disney movie. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't have like curse words, blood, murder. There's a lot of different restrictions that can't go in a Disney movie.
Right.
But the real world has curse words, blood, murder, blah, 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 blah. So you're never seeing a real picture coming from Disney. You're never seeing a real interpretation of life coming from Disney. But Disney has always done that. Look at their girl movies. Think about this. All of the Disney princesses, none of them have a mother, and they all hate their stepmother, right? Their father is a king who doesn't really know shit, and they have to go on this crazy journey to find love, right? So basically that's telling all of the women or all of the little kids growing up to have a dysfunctional household and go look for a prince, go find money. That's pretty much what American women do, you know?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is Disney taught them that, you know. They don't know why they do that. It's the reason why none of our relationships are really working over here, because
you getting deep now.
We've been taught wrong since day one, and we can owe a lot of it to Disney. So no, I don't think part 2 would be good if Disney does it. You know what I'm saying? It won't be. Nothing. You already know Disney's not going to give you what you need. They're just going to give you a good magic trick.
McDonald's. McDonald's.
Right, just exactly. And my homie said that the other day. I had a podcast and I was like, DC is better than Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, all the fans always talk about, well, Marvel sold so much, so they're the best and blah, blah, blah. But McDonald's sells the most burgers, but they have the worst burger. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it don't equate. No, you can sell a lot of fucking tickets, but
exactly.
you still have the worst burger.
Exactly.
It doesn't equate. WB and Warner Brothers, DC, EU is completely better than Marvel, only because Warner is more realistic than Disney, and that's just it.
Now
look at Zack Snyder on BVS, how he made. Remember the scene in Africa when they burned all the people alive, and it was LexCorp, right?
Right.
LexCorp is a corporation.
Right.
But they made it like it was a general over there doing bad, like Coney. But it was really the corporation that burned everybody alive.
Exactly.
You see, Zack Snyder actually told you how life really is.
Exactly.
He told you how that shit really works.
Exactly.
But people, they demonize Zack Snyder because they don't want you to know how that shit really is.
They don't like the truth. They don't like the truth.
Right, and that's the truth. So Disney, who owns most of this media, they don't want you to know the truth. They just want you to know the magic trick. So they will get Zack Snyder out of the way and continue giving you that bullshit. That's how it works.
And see, man, that pretty much everything you just said is why I really do not want to see, because I know, like I said, I'm a fan of both Marvel and DC, but I love the X-Men, and I love what Fox has been doing, because I feel like if you take the MCU and put it side by side next to the X-Men movies, I feel like the X-Men movies have, aside from two, have a significantly more cohesive narrative. And I know people talk about the timeline and the costumes, but that's the thing I'm glad you said, about Zack Snyder showing us the truth. The X-Men movies don't gloss over serious moments and truthful moments like I'm just gonna say it, the MCU movies do. A lot of the MCU movies do. And that's one thing I'm gonna miss about it, but that's a whole nother topic. Brother Peel, man, I really appreciate you stopping by, and like I said, I didn't know you were initially a believer in the Zack Snyder movement, but we'll have to definitely collaborate on that if that's all right with you in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, man.
Now, let me ask you this: we're about to finally close. What is the main thing Black Panther didn't do that you wish it would have done?
I think if they were gonna, that's a hard question. I don't even think they should have made the movie. But if they were gonna make the movie, they just should have. I think Africa, at the end of the day, Africa as a whole should have been. They should have had a kumbaya scene of the whole continent. You know what I'm saying? Not the UN. The UN is the United Nations. That's France, America, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
A lot of those major countries already had a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? So I think they should have had a big party in Africa. Actual Africa, not Wakanda, not no... some fake ass shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't think they want to promote that message, so I don't think we're ever gonna get that. But Avatar 2 is coming out soon, so we'll see.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, Brother Peel. You now we talked a little bit in earlier, and I'm sure you've seen online how there's been these shouting matches and long book reports and essays about why Black Panther is overrated. And I will say this before I continue. I do think they could have did a lot better with the CGI, given it's 2016, 2017 when they were filming it and the budget they had. But here's the thing: I like the MCU. Don't get me wrong. And this, I don't I try not to diss them because the fans are just really, really sensitive. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of their movies aren't like. And somebody said this better than I can say it. In 10 years, we're gonna be looking back at the MCU movies, and a lot of them aren't just gonna be as memorable as we claim they are now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
None of them will be. None of them.
really,
Because they're double cheeseburgers from Burger King off the dollar menu. That's what they are. You know, I mean, we can go eat a steak right now from Ruth Chris Steak House, or we can go eat a double cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Yeah.
We're gonna remember that steak. We're not gonna remember the double cheeseburger.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
None of them. The CGI in Black Panther was garbage.
Yeah.
It was like their final fighting scene. They looked like rubber bands bouncing around.
Yeah.
And that one scene I mentioned it the other day when they're on the cliff, like when everybody's they're doing that little fight on in the waterfall.
Yeah.
So everybody's standing on the cliff, right? And they're standing behind the fight, and you can see them like a full human size, right?
Right.
So now, think about this: if you can see yourself that height on a cliff, that cliff only had to be like 5 feet tall, 6 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? Like the people were so huge. It's like, come on, man! If we're flying over a cliff, the people look like ants in real life. You know, if you're looking down from that camera angle, but on that movie, they look so huge, and I'm like, dog. If Zack Snyder would have done something like this,
yes.
people would have killed. They would have never let that pass. You know, I'm looking at this like, yo, there's no way people actually think they're standing on a waterfall right now when they're 1/3 the height of the waterfall. So like, are they like 27 feet tall humans now? It just doesn't make sense. But it was so corny. It was so bad, man. But it had a lot of stupid things in there, like that one scene where the girl looked at his shoes and she was like, "What are those?" You know, like, "We need to give you some sneakers." You know, some shit like that. Like, nobody would have ever told Batman, "We need to give you some sneakers." You know?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
what the hell are we talking about, dog? Like, what kind of movie am I in right now? You know, I can't deal with no shit like that, man. I was like, man, no, man. I want to get up and leave because I'm 37, dog. I don't even wear sneakers every day. Like, what the fuck? We need to get you some sneakers because they are sneaky. Oh my god.
Yeah, man. That's exactly some of the stuff I want to say. Like I said, man, it's like the MCU, like, it's good. I'm not gonna knock what they've done. It's good, but it's not like nothing that's gonna be discussed in 10 years. The only people that are going,
it's a double cheeseburger.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I don't want the X-Men to join. That's a whole nother video. But my question for you, brother, Pio, and I have one more after this, and then we'll close.
All right.
I'm sure you saw that the movie got like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
It got a significant amount of more praise than Infinity War did. Something I think also rubbed people the wrong way.
Right.
Do you think it has and I'm sure you saw that it got a Golden Globe nod for Best Picture. Do you think it has a chance to win?
Yeah, I mean, if they want to continue to promote that message, they will. They buy all of that shit, like Golden Globes, Rotten Tomatoes scores, all that shit like that. They buy that type of stuff, you know. So that's in their marketing, like just like in the music industry. Mm-hmm. These guys will be like, you know, we had 1 million streams, you know, but what they really do is they buy a warehouse and they put like 5,000 cell phones in there and they just stream it over and over and over. So what it looks like is the fans think they just went platinum.
Yeah.
But they just did it themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the industry is. Disney goes and buys a Golden Globe and they go and pay Rotten Tomatoes, or they pay Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is the majority owner of Rotten Tomatoes. So they pay for that shit. But that's only because they want to promote the message. Like, if you had a message on your podcast right now that I really wanted to promote, I would give you money. to help promote your message. You know what I'm saying? So if they want to continue to promote the message of digging and mining in Africa, they'll continue to pay for Golden Globe nominations. But they want to, because you know they get more money by the mining in Africa than they get from the movie industry. So the movie industry, Black Panther, is just the commercial. You know, mining in Africa is what they want to do. They just need a reason to